Hello, everyone. Welcome to Creativity-Hive's weekly program. I am Miriam Haugen. I'm part of the Creativity-Hive team, and we help creatives learn to make impactful storytelling videos through one-on-one teaching and live group coaching. We're really excited to bring you this week's guest, but first, a word from our sponsors.
Santa Experience Oregon creates a magical experience for your children and heirloom art for you that we will treasure for a lifetime. Watch while your children have milk and cookies with Santa, find their names in the nice book, and so much more. Visit santaexperienceoregon.com. Today's Creativity Hive episode is brought to you by iNet Media. iNet Media brings visual creativity to your video projects to tell your story and get noticed. inet-media.co.za.
Hello, everyone. Today's guest is Tyrone Turner. He's a videographer, businessman, and CEO of FlashFilm Academy. So, Ty, tell us about, you're based in Dallas, Texas, right?
Yes. Based in Dallas.
Yes. And what's your journey? How did you get to where you are today?
Kind of a long story. I started as a combat photographer in the military.
Oh.
My passion has always been to create content. And I've had the opportunity to kind of do it in many different places under many different situations. And I've just worked my way from the front line to doing it for different parts of the government to different parts of, I guess you can say, corporate America, to now I'm here. And it started with me realizing that a lot of businesses needed what we have to offer. And I was noticing that I can possibly get checks from multiple companies. Why just get a check from one company when I can get a check from multiple companies? So how do I go about doing that? And in my journey discovering how to do that, I started a YouTube channel. And initially, I wanted a YouTube channel where I just talked about gear. But as I started talking about gear, and I would say things like, yeah, this is the camera I use to shoot a video for Toyota. Here's a camera I use to shoot a video for Verizon. Here's some flashes that I use when I created content for Raising Cane's. And people were like, whoa, stop it. What? You just named 3 big companies. Like, how are you getting these jobs? And I started to notice more and more that people were interested in understanding how I started landing jobs. Like, we want to know more about how are you getting these jobs? And I never thought about it. I never thought about the process of going after clients, because it was kind of the dirty part of the industry. It was the part nobody talked about. I thought no one was interested in it. And then I started to gear things towards that part of the industry and started building FlashFilm Academy, and poof, we're here.
Okay, we want to know more about that. I'll bring Neil on. Hi, Neil. So, yeah. Okay. How do you land those companies?
It start with yourself. It start with understanding who you want to work with. It start with understanding who you're valuable to, and building out your brand to go after a specific client. I think often we try to be something for everyone. And today, clients don't want that. They want specialists. They want subject matter experts. And business owners, we as artists care about the beautiful side, the artistic side of content creation. Business owners don't. They care about the functional side. They care about the side that deliver results. It's difficult to deliver results when you're worried about being creative. It's easier to deliver results when you're focused on one specific type of content for one specific type of client. So I tell people to slim down. A story I always tell people is I paid a mentor for a lot of money for 6 months to tell me to do less. Over and over again, he would tell me to do less, do less, do less. I'm like, what do you mean? I've done so much. Why are you telling me to do less? And he was like, you don't specialize in anything. It's hard to get a client to trust you to do anything when you don't specialize in anything. So it was a hard pill for me to swallow. But when I finally swallowed that pill and started to do less, started to specialize in one thing, man, my phone started ringing like crazy. I started landing bigger clients. And the crazy part about it is once I started doing less, and it's gonna sound crazy, I actually started doing more because those clients that brought me in to do that one job, I was able to open up my portfolio to them, and they because of that relationship I developed with them, they allowed me to do other things for them. And an example of that is, we focused on corporate event photography. And one of the clients we work with is a big chain like Raising Cane's. And once they brought us in to do just new store openings, we just focused on, hey, we want to capture new store openings for you guys. We partnered with their new store opening team, and followed their team around to only capture new store openings. And after developing that relationship, we started doing a ton of other things for them, from other photography to video to all kind of things for that company, based on having a brand that built itself around only capturing corporate events. So it was just a learning experience that pretty much cost me a lot of money with a mentor to learn. But once I understood it, it helped me move forward in the industry.
That okay. That is hard to do. Sometimes it's really hard to say, "Oh, I'm going to just specialize in this," but you're going, "But I can do this and this and this." But you're saying that you still are getting, you're still able to do those other projects.
I tell people to think of it like this. Think about, if you want to paint your home and you want to get the best possible paint, you want to speak to the most knowledgeable reps on buying paint for your home. You don't go to Walmart, right? You go to a store that specializes in paint. You know you're going to spend a little bit more for that paint, but you're going to have the ability to talk to someone that can say, "Hey, you need to lay a primer down. You need to mix this. These are the tools you need. This is the best of the best. This is the paint you need." That store will only have paint. That store will have the best of the best when it comes to those who understand paint. And like I said, you're gonna spend a little more, and but you're gonna leave happy. You're gonna be a satisfied client. Whenever you need to paint a different room in your house, you're going to go back to that store. Now you could save money and go to Walmart and walk through, the electronic department, the grocery department, the clothing department to get to the department that has paint, but you're probably not going to speak to someone who understands what you need. You will probably speak to someone who can point you to the aisle where paint is, and that's about it. And when you are a content creator that do everything, you are Walmart. And you want to be a specialist. You want to be someone who specializes in something that can deliver results. And I mean, that's the way to be reassuringly expensive when you specialize in it. And that's the goal.
Reassuringly expensive. I like that. But yeah, because you can't, if you're Walmart, your people are expecting cheap, right?
Absolutely. And Walmart is big enough to buy in enough volume where
Yeah,
they
they
can
can do
afford
that.
to. Correct. And if you want to do 50,000 jobs a week, go for it. I want to do 2 to 3, and I want to go back home and relax. So because I don't have the time to do 50,000 jobs, I'm not available to take on a lot of volume. My time is precious. I want to do other things. I want to specialize in 1 or 2 big jobs per week. So I want to specialize in what I do.
Okay, so tell us more about Flash Film Academy.
Okay, FlashFilm Academy is a website where we provide courses that are just fluff-free courses. We get straight to the point, and it's designed to help with the business side. We don't teach how to take better pictures. We don't teach how to properly expose anything. It's 100% business, and we try to make it relatable. We try to make it so that we can help you design your brand to go after your target audience. We try to help you discover who that target audience is, and we try to help you understand how business works so you can make the right decisions for your location and your niche. And the part of that sometimes is discovering what that niche is and what works for you. We don't want you to say, "Hey, I want to film surfboards," and you're on the wrong part of, in the wrong part of the country. We want to help you understand, what's the right niche for you and how to go after that niche, and then build your brand around appealing to that niche, right? And there's so many little things that come into play. A story I like to tell a lot of my viewers is there was a time where I was working with dentists, and I after working with dentists for a while, I wasn't getting a lot of traction on my website, and I finally developed a relationship with a dentist. And understanding that the age range of the average dentist is somewhere over 50 and under about 80. I had a dentist finally tell me, like, "Man, your website's great, but your font's too little." I was,
Oh.
my font's too little? Like, something as simple as that. When I made the change, I saw an increase in sales. Like that, and that's something
Wow.
that if 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 my demographic is of this age range, you should be aware of that as you're building your brand. And that this is why you can't be everything for everyone. Now that I know that my demographic is of this age range, my font is a lot bigger. Because I'm working with dentists, my colors favor, their industry. So there are things that you need to do for your brand when it comes to working with a specific industry that may work in one area that don't work in another area. If you're a dog groomer, those colors may not work if you're working in the medical field. Dog groomers are okay with browns and greens, and but that won't work if you're in the medical field. They want brighter, cleaner colors. So those are things that you need to think about when you decide to go into business, and that's why one size fit all idea for what we do don't always work in business, when we go after business clients.
Right. So, so
I'm just
dentist.
going to kick in here
Yeah.
for a second for anybody following us that our partner in South Africa, Mo, just texted a from his WhatsApp from his phone of a black room. Uh, he they went into what's called load shedding. In other words, the power grid just was shut off. But this one wasn't even announced ahead of time. They just shut them off. So all of a sudden, there's no power. And
Wow.
I
So
hope his computer had finished rebuilding the Oz, because if it got shut off while it was rebuilding its operating system, that's that can be really nasty.
yeah, no
Okay,
fun.
battery backup.
So back to our regularly scheduled content.
Yes. So, okay, so you mentioned dentist. Is that one of the areas that you specialized in then?
So I used to I went through a few different niches,
Okay.
trying to find myself, trying to find, like, where do I want to be, what works for me,
Yeah.
what type of client do I enjoy working with.
Oh,
And in our program, we kind of talk about finding yourself. Finding the thing is this: you want to be in an area where you're comfortable speaking and you can speak intelligently with that demographic. You want to be able to walk in and hold a conversation. And I mean, think about it like this: imagine walking into a store and you're going to buy a camera, and the person you're speaking with can't talk to you about shutter, ISO. They can't talk to you about the tools you're there to buy. Would you trust them? There's a big difference from buying a camera from Best Buy compared to B&H. No disrespect to Best Buy, but there's a
right.
huge difference between the reps at Best Buy and B&H. When you call Best Buy and you say, "Hey," even let's say you go buy a used camera from Best Buy and you're like, "What's the shutter count?" If you call and ask a B&H in their used department, they have it. They
Right.
understand it. They know it. So, which company do you want to be? If you're working with dentists, you need to walk in and understand the lingo, the keywords. So, your niche needs to be something you care about. You need to have an intelligent conversation with your client. And those are little things that when your competitor is in their face talking 8K, 4K quality, and then you can have a conversation with them and you can use keywords, phrases, and terms, about things in their industry. Those are things that are going to win, help you win that client every time. So that's very important when you stick to one niche. And then we also have in our courses a program called beta clients, right, where we tell you to Don't just go out and build your portfolio. Build a relationship with a client, create a product or a service with that client, and make that client your beta client, right? And use that client to grow your business. Use that client to get information so that you can create a product to sell in that industry. That client will tell you exactly what they need. And an example of that, that I often like to talk about is, I had a consultant call with a gentleman who lived in a area that was a high traffic area. It was a tourist area, and he was running into restaurants saying, "Hey, I'm gonna make you this promo video. I'm gonna make you this great promo video," and he was getting no love. They were kicking him out, like, "We don't need a promo video." And he was like, "Man, I'm trying to make these guys this promo video, and nobody wants it." I'm like, "Have you asked them what they want?"
Yeah.
Went back, asked them what they want, and every person he asked said, "We need a recruiting video. I don't have a problem bringing people in. I don't have enough employees to serve the people I have. Our reviews we're getting lower reviews because we can't get food out fast enough because we don't have enough staff." So simply by understanding what the client needed, when he walked in the door and say, "Hey, we can create a recruiting video to bring more staff members in, and then training videos to help train that staff and get them on the floor faster," now you have the attention of restaurant owners in that area.
I know, that's incredible. The idea of training videos for your restaurant so you're not having to, oh, wow. How simple is that?
And not only is that a great idea, but because they value that more, they're willing to spend way more money on something they value than something you're shoving down their throat.
Yeah.
Well, that's an important thing even for people just trying to get started in across video production or anything like that. You know, you may decide that, well, I think I want to be a colorist, but you go trying to work with some people and they don't have need for an untrained colorist. What they need is someone to help schlep sound equipment around. So if you want to get a job, yeah, you may start out schlepping sound equipment around and all of a sudden find out that you end up working Pro Tools 5 years down the road. You're not doing color, but you're becoming an audio expert because you filled a need that someone had. You get hired when they have a need.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't ask the right questions, what you want to do won't align with what they need.
Yeah.
So it's always best to ask the right questions. So we have, like I said, we teach you to get a beta client, and we teach you the steps and how to approach them so that you can understand what they need. Once you understand what they need, okay, everybody in this industry is having this problem. Well, let me create something that I can sell in this industry. Let me create, so I'm not reinventing the wheel with every time. So now, if I understand that every restaurant in this area is having the same problem, I can create a promo video, which, you know, systems and processes are the same. We're going to create a promo video that's this long, that's going to show, you know, 3-second exterior shot, you know, 2 minutes of talking head with B-roll explaining why they should come work with you, end on call to action, whatever. We know how to shoot it, shot list, very simple. I can, you know, I'm not sitting there scratching my head wondering how I'm going to do it with every customer. I have the method now. Now I can, and I understand because we did it with my beta client. I have a case study. I know the results that this video, you know, can provide. When I go to my next client, I have a testimony from my last client. I have results from my last client.
Mm-hmm.
I have a finished product from my last client. I've just increased the value, and I know you need it. I know it's valuable to you. I'm not guessing. So I can be reassuringly expensive.
I love that phrase, reassuringly expensive.
Yeah, that's a good quote. Okay, so we've got a question here. What's the best way to connect with you?
Best way to connect with me, it's either a YouTube channel, which is FlashFilm Academy, or FlashFilmAcademy.com.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That is cool. Oh, I was gonna write the phrase and then I
the reassuringly expensive.
Reassuringly expensive.
It's so important because I think a lot of content creators, deep inside, we want to be reassuringly expensive, but we think we can do it because of the gear we bought or how long we've been in business.
Yeah.
And that means nothing to our client.
No, they
It
don't
means
care.
absolutely nothing. The goal is to understand what your client value and then provide a lot of that, right?
Mhm.
The goal is to say, different clients value different things. Different people value different things, right? What your mother value, you may not value. There, so you have to, and if you're trying to be everything for everybody, well, everybody don't value everything. There are certain cars that are worth $1 million to some people that's in somebody's backyard right now rusting away because they don't care for it. So for you to be successful with your business, you need to limit who you're going after, understand what they value, and then build your brand around those things. It's just
I'm
that simple.
thinking of a comment that a series of comments I had with a young guy that was doing a video business here. It's probably a couple of years back now, where he was lamenting that he'd been trying to get a a job with a specific local company to do their web work, because we're starting to do more web explainers and presence and how to use our business and all this kind of stuff. And he'd been trying to get it and just hadn't really been able to make any headway. And when he came to me, he was all upset because another videographer had come in and had sat down with him, had arranged to sit down with a person that would be in charge of the budget for this kind of thing, and said, okay, what do you want? And asked all the right questions, and then said, well, okay, what you want is actually going to cost a chunk, because it takes time to properly do this. I have to have this kind of stuff like that. So, all these details you don't need to know, but just what you want does take time and offer. And the guy had apparently sat there and said, okay, let's try it. And of course, what the young guy was doing was, was offering it at probably a quarter that rate. And he was just so upset that he'd been offering it a quarter and they wouldn't even try him out. And this other guy comes in with a much more expensive bid, and they all of a sudden they're working and they're locked up with him, and they don't even want to talk with the young guy anymore. Well, he was very upfront about the fact that to get good work costs some money. Your comment about the paint. You want good paint. Good paint isn't cheap. Cheap paint's cheap paint. You want good paint? Well, it costs a bit more. You want good video production for your site? Well, that costs.
People will spend money for specialists.
Yeah.
People will definitely spend if you need a surgery, if you need some sort of surgery, you don't want to go to a guy that says, need a knee replacement. Well, we may be able to do it. We replaced a elbow a week ago. I'm sure we can figure this out. You want a guy?
We can do it for probably $600.
we may be. Let me get the manual. I'm sure we can. Don't worry about it.
Nah.
We're gonna, as soon as we figure out the anesthesia, you won't feel a thing. We're gonna figure that out first. And you don't want that. You want somebody who say, we do this all day, every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yes, I want the best of the best. But you have to present yourself as a specialist. You can't present yourself as we do everything. There's no way to be great at everything. You have to say, this is what we do. We help businesses go from A to Z, and we solve this problem all day, every day. Perfect. You pay more for a specialist. You don't pay less. And you're comfortable. You feel better paying. You feel better when you bring in a specialist and you pay more for a specialist. When your car breaks down, if you want it done right, you're going to go to the dealership. You're going to pay more at the dealership. You can go to your neighborhood auto mechanic. You're going to pay a little less. It may get done. There's 3 levels to it. It's the best, which is more the dealership. It's the local mechanic. It's a little less, and you may get it done right. And it's a backyard mechanic where you're rolling the dice. It's cheaper. So as a content creator, where do you want to be? I want to be the dealership. You can choose to be whichever one you want, but the dealership, I want to be the dealership. They are the best. They specialize in this particular type of car. They get paid the most. They make the most. They have the best facilities, the best equipment. They present a cleaner, better image. I want to go there. When you drop your car off to the dealership, you don't complain. Their clients are like, hey, the dealership said it's this part. It must be that part. They know what they're doing. The backyard mechanic, It's saying, we're going to see, I think it's your alternator, but it could be your battery, but it could be your starter, but it could be, I don't want that. I want
No.
the best. So, it's on you.
In fact, it sounds expensive when they start saying it could be this or it could be that. Then you start going, oh my gosh, how much is this going to cost me?
Right.
And how long is it going to take them to sort out what really is the problem?
Yeah.
I want the best. And you want clients who want the best. If you present yourself to be the best, the problem solver for this specific problem, you will attract great clients.
Yeah. So, okay, time to wrap things up. Do you have like if you were going to just get this into like 3 top tips for people that are just starting out, what would you tell them?
3 top tips. I would say first, be specific, narrow it down, do less. That's the hardest thing it was for me to learn. Do less, focus on the business. The business is 75% of what you do. You can rent all the gear you want. You cannot rent the website. You cannot rent the sales process. You cannot rent the pitch, the portfolio, the proposals. Those are parts you can't rent. If you have to invest in something, invest in that. You can't rent that. You can rent all the gear in the world. Those are my 3 things. Because a lot of people invest in things that's rentable, and that's just backwards. The fun stuff that we all love to do, which is the filming, the shooting, that's the fun stuff. All of that can be rented. You cannot rent this. That should be your number 1 investment. If you have invested more in gear than you have invested in this, we got to rethink some things. We got to look at some decisions, because usually, things are, you wonder why am I not bringing in? Why have I spent more money than I've made in this industry? Because you've invested usually in the wrong things. This should be your number 1 investment.
Perfect. That is great. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to have you back.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
This is awesome. So I hope everybody enjoyed this.